paper.
No. Yeah. So, hey everyone, welcome to another ecosystem session. We've got David Ellams from Our World and Lumi, who's been collaborating with him over the last little while, and we're just doing some prep. So I've just spontaneously hit record, and we'll just pick up the conversation wherever it is, because there's a few different pieces. Lumi wants to know a bit more about ecosystem sessions. We're describing how they're designed to capture and share the stories of those who saw the way Holochain could merge with their work from, and in the last year, in the last 3 years, in the last 5 years, in the last 10 years, and build a body of content, but also an opportunity to share at whatever pace anybody wants or needs around the things that people see, around what they're building, and around how their world and the Holochain world merges. So we're just starting that. So Lumi and David, I'll let you guys riff however you want to in whatever way on Our World, onto the ecosystem sessions, wherever we're going to go, and then we're going to jump in and we're going to have a look at a little bit of code and the HDK.
Thank you. So maybe I set the stage. I would just want to say that David is the technology mind behind this, and I am much more representing the social aspect of what David has created, and as well as the interconnection with these other technological ecosystems that would be able to be plugged in through the powerful development that David has created. So when I speak, you will probably hear me more talking about the social aspect of it and how we could actually create a beautiful experience out of the creation that David has. And David would be able to really dig much deeper and actually on the code and the technology itself. For now, I would just share that the way that I perceive David's creation, which is massive and absolutely wonderful, and has been created over 7 or 12 years, I would say, and very on his own, and actually being very brave in his creation. The way that I perceive it, without being one technical person myself, is actually something that would enable the Holochain ecosystem to be turbocharged by connecting this holographic infrastructure with so many other technological platforms that we are in tune with. I don't know how many people here are familiar with the threefold network, who are creating this new, also decentralized infrastructure, new internet that is very complementary to Holochain in some aspects, or the Seeds new economy that has been developed as well using blockchain, and the Unity engines of games. Well, OASIS API, as well as I see it, that is David's creation, is actually what will enable to all of these ecosystems to be interconnected among themselves, and all of it through the power of an avatar system. Let's say that each one of us is one avatar in the game of life itself, and we would have our own single sign-on avatar among all the technological platforms, and all of it connected with, let's say, a karma system, as video games work. You have your own individual avatar, and then you have your karma based on the actions that you take on the game of life. Well, I believe that OASIS API is the fundamental core block that will enable the Holochain infrastructure to really expand through the gaming ecosystems based on this interconnection with the game engine Unity that David has created, as well as these other platforms, Threefold, Seeds, and many others that we are interconnecting with. So that being said, I think, David, you take it from here, because you are the tech person, and where you can go is just massive in your explanations.
Yeah, thanks, Lumi. Because I can't remember what I said on the first part of the interview, so I'll just try and be more brief, because I've been a technical visionary person. I'm all about details, so normally I could talk for hours and hours about the vision. But what I was just saying, I think just before we start recording, was like what David Atkinson was saying about how these sessions are about the people who kind of believe in Holochain from the day one kind of thing. Like I've been into this since beginning of 2018, before the Indigo campaign, and when it was on a Go prototype, that's when I joined Holochain. And I just knew because I'm like a visionary, I kind of see the future, and you could call it kind of psychic as well, kind of thing. But every time kind of thing, I have a feeling, just the intuition just goes, this is going to be massive, and every time it always comes true. So it's always kind of been like bang on the money. It's like kind of trust your instincts, like trust your gut kind of thing. So that's why I kind of laugh when people think with naysayers and Telegram groups are going like, oh, it's gonna be a flop and da 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 da. Like, no, I know it's gonna be massive. It's huge.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
And like, yeah, and this is Holochain is what's gonna be left standing when like blockchain. Because blockchain is more like a stepping stone to Holochain, and it's going to be the future. It's going to be huge. It's a backbone of the new internet, and that's why my architecture is built on that. So when I saw blockchain, I wasn't that excited by it, but when I saw Holochain, it was like, wow, this is the future. So just wanted to say that again, because that was quite useful for people to hear. Yeah, and like I think I said before on the last call a bit about what Lumi said, the OASIS API just connects everything to everything. So it just interconnects the whole world together. Everything's in its silos, and everyone's trying to compete and trying to be exclusive, whereas I'm about inclusivity, like including everything, while I'm trying to compete with everyone. Let's just collaborate and co-create the new Earth and the new internet. So it's kind of like using the best of everything, really. So it's like the OASIS API is like a network of networks, like an abstraction layer of the whole internet. So when you get everything to talk to each other, you get the power of unity consciousness and manifest, and then you can do things like load balance the entire internet. So you can load balance across all the different providers. And so far as Holochain, Ethereum, EOS, IO, Telos, MongoDB, and SQLite implemented and live, and soon it'll be Threefold and Blockstack and many more. There's tons. Like if you look at the GitHub repository, you can see all the ones that are going to be added soon. And this is why it's open source. I want developers to jump in and like just mass produce the providers, and we're just going to connect the whole world together, basically connect the whole world, and then we can load balance across the whole internet. So like if one provider is like is slower in your local area, it automatically jump to another provider, because as redundancy, automatically back your avatar and your data is automatically like a bit like the gossip protocol in a way, similar. It automatically redundancy in the background, sequentially back it up. But you can choose exactly where your data is backed up to, who has permission on each provider. You can go right down to the field level of each object and choose like on this provider they've got read-only access, and this provider it's just backed up there so no one can see it. On this provider they can edit it. So you got full control of your data. And then like, so the power of that is you can load balance across the whole internet, and also fault tolerance. So like if a provider goes down or it's slower, it might jump to another one. So anything built on the OASIS API, which is called an OAP, stands for OASIS application, we'll never know, you have to write it once, deploy everywhere, and it's future-proof. So any new networks or platforms or protocols come out, you don't have to worry about like porting your DApp or your HApp to this and upgrading it, because OASIS API takes care of that. The provider would be implemented for that new network, and then it will start using it, like, and you don't have to recompile your app or anything. It's done in real time. So that's the power of it, sort of thing. So it's completely future-proof in any application you write. So it's basically the last application you ever need to write, because it always will be future-proof and automatically get free upgrades. And then, and also if your application is running and anything goes down, it will switch to another provider in the background. You never know it. So as a user, they never have any lag, any slowdown. You never even know that it's switched to a different provider or different network, because it'll just be handle it all for you. And it's a very simple API, an abstraction API, where it's very simple to like a fourth generation or even fifth generation language, so you can drag and drop like for wizards and just plug and play. And this is why what Philip Beadle's building and CRISPR, that's very similar to my vision of this, but my vision is bigger than that, and that's why I wanted to work with Philip Beadle. I want to integrate the CRISPR into this as well. That's another thing I want to do, because I really love his interface. I love to use the interface, the CRISPR interface, into the OASIS API for like just drag and drop and building your different applications and combine different DNAs. Imagine that power, but beyond the holochain. Imagine that power for the whole internet. Imagine building applications that can connect to everything, and you can consume smart contracts in Ethereum. You can consume smart contracts in OASIS, but you don't have to worry about learning the implementations because it's a very simple abstraction API where you can talk to all of them for the same things. You don't have to keep learning different languages. You don't have to learn different technologies. You don't have to like keep having to reinvent the wheel again and again. It's very. I hope you see the power of this. So that's my big vision for this kind of thing. So I built like the first sort of prototype of OASIS API, and now I'm also building the .NET HDK prototype as well, which I can talk more about as well.
Cool. Hey David, can I just, Lumi, what gets you so excited about this?
Yeah. Well, both David and myself are gamers and have really a big passion and understand actually that the future of all the technological platforms is an immersive virtual massive game. Many of you probably have seen the movie Ready Player One, actually by Steven Spielberg, and there's been just released Ready Player 2, which has been, this has been a massive revolution into the world of storytelling and immersive media and experience, understanding that where everything is converging is the creation of massive virtual worlds. Not only that, but we are also very connected with an ecosystem that probably people will know, called transformative technology, which is actually how to connect technology with the space of well-being and flourishing and psychological well-being. And right now we are experiencing incredible, social problems in regards to the state of the world, about the lockdowns and about people isolating themselves. And just right now, the transformative technology ecosystem has really expressed that the future of psychological well-being lies in the gaming industry. And so the moment that I saw what David had created, again, all of it, with this intention of interconnecting all the technological platforms, and most importantly, all of it being built around an avatar system, I understood, wow, this is actually the backbone of this collective intention of creating this immersive virtual world that so beautifully Steven Spielberg was able to represent on that Ready Player One movie. I basically saw David as James Halliday represented on that movie. Very honestly, we can say this, autistic person that just loved absolutely technology and found so much, well-being within himself in computers, in trying to create a better world so that people didn't have to suffer the things that he had suffered. And I saw, wow, this man is a genius. Is the genius that I've been waiting for with my visions about the future of gaming. And it was a beautiful dance that we started developing over the last months, in myself bringing him all the technological platforms and expressing what he has created. And that's why I was so excited to really jump into the Holochain ecosystem, because what David was saying is that Holochain itself is the actual backbone of the new internet. So I would say it's the understanding of gaming, of these immersive worlds, and how it can actually interconnect humanity in a much more beautiful way. And I believe OASIS API is the fundamental backbone for that, connected with the Holochain ecosystem.
Yes, well said.
Amazing.
Yep.
And what do you think the thing is that people, what are people unable to see right now in what David's building that will be blindingly obvious in, say, 3 years' time?
Wow, that's David. Do you have an answer for that? I can say from my own experience that it is so. I believe that David has been expressing these mind-boggling claims about what he has created, that people had, some resistance about actually believing that it could actually be true. But it's been just recently that we did, because I actually pushed David into saying, David, you've been saying how mind-blogging it is, but it's time that people actually see it so that they can understand that it's just not words, because there are so many charlatans out there that people sometimes don't believe in these mind-boggling claims. So finally, I was able to push David into creating a demo that was very technical. He was just sharing I believe it's 250,000 lines of code that he had created, and we did that in the presence of Debbie Stack, which is an IBM Watson, the first female IBM Watson consultant, the most powerful, the latest one, really, grounded in the ecosystem. We were doing that also with James Hanusa, who has this powerful digital brain ecosystem that is operating in Silicon Valley. And it was finally revealed to the world that this was just not just words, but there's actually that incredible development being deployed. So I would say probably the thing that had been blocked, people from seeing this was actually a communication problem. And that's where I fit in. And that's when I had to actually work with David in these autism traits so he could actually overcome them and get to know himself a bit better, and actually deliver myself the message to really attract the people so they could actually see with their own eyes that what he was saying was actually fucking true. So I believe that's the power of our tandem. It's someone who has actually such a mind-boggling talent with technology that needed someone who could actually translate these things into the social aspect of what it is. And that's where we are now, and that's why I believe this call is so important, and I'm absolutely confident it will ignite so many things. So that's my view. David.
Thank you. Yeah, that's the thing. That's why Lumi's my translator, because that's why if you read Ready Player One, it's so similar. Like the guy with autism grew up in the 80s, loves 80s retro gaming, and pop music, 80s pop music. Had a social recluse, had trouble fitting in. Played Dungeons and Dragons as a kid. I'm programming, making games since 8 on the Spectrum. And always gifted with computers, and then he created a revolutionary VR platform called OASIS, and I made a film about it. But that book, James Halliday's struggles with autism, his social problems and communication problems, and then he created this amazing next-gen technology, is my life. And my vision of our world, and I had a vision of our world and OASIS API for years before I read the book. People kept saying, did you get that from? Did you inspire Ready Player One? I went no. And eventually I read the book, and I was like, it described my life, and it described half of my platform. All the things I was downloading and building, designing, was in this book. I was like, oh my God, this book is not a sci-fi, it's a prophecy. And it's like mental. It's just how the universe works. It's like preparing the way. People think it's me being crazy, but like you said, in 3 years' time, we'll have the last laugh. In 3 years' time, it's all going to be true. And then you're going to be like, told you. But there you go. But the problem is visionaries. It's like, we never understood in that time. It's like, any history remember us for who we are. But
now it's time, recorded. But now it's recorded.
But this would be historic, this video, right? In 4 years' time. But like, well, we did try to tell you for years. For 7 years, I've been trying to get people to understand what my crazy ramblings. And Lumi's the first one who understood what I was talking about. So I was really grateful for that. And he started to translate it to other people.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a crucial part of the process. You need that person. And it's funny because I was really reflecting on this morning with a guy, Trevor, that I've worked with, for really a mentor of mine, and he taught me a lot of how he learned to see the world through both an Eastern and Western perspective over the last 40 years. That was almost like the things I'd always imagined, but I'd never had any words for. And suddenly I worked out there have people been thinking about that for hundreds of years, and it's such a relief and welcome. But for me, then he's just a constant source of insight and clarity of thinking. And one of the things we were chatting about this morning was this idea of a like talking about downward spirals, and what is the thing that transforms a downward spiral in a human system? He's like, immediately, we got onto an external intervention, but it's not something like we usually think for. It's a source of energy that comes. It can be something inside us that we never knew of before, that we open and discover, if the system is just ourselves, or if it's something like this. It's someone who comes along and says, David, and says, hey, I get this. And I've been waiting for this my whole life, not to build it, but to enable it for something I want to do. And that's that next foundation that makes that next bit real. And I can see, David, it's like, yeah, it's very different even from chatting to you a few weeks ago, chatting to you today. But yeah, it's just a really nice mirroring of something that's been really important in my life and came up this morning, which was seeing Lumi, you illuminate David's concept, then illuminates David, which then makes it one more step real. And without that, it's so hard. So you can see this track, I've been trying to communicate, and then all of a sudden it begins to illuminate, and then you can move. So yeah, so want to honor both of you. Phenomenal work, and thanks so much for both being here.
Such a pleasure.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah,
well,
thank you.
Is there more chatting we want to do, or David, do you want to go show us some of the code in HDK?
Let's show it.
Yeah.
Let's show it.
Yeah, I think I should show, but yeah, because time's quite short, I can do very quick, like jump in and then maybe the next call we can go more. I'll just say for people listening that if you check out the Our World of Game website, .com, that there's a the OASIS API demo I did, the full video. You can check that out, and that's like a whole hour or so of me showing the code. So like, if you want to see more detail, they can always check that out.
Yeah. And also they can reach me out as well because I can actually share the links, and probably, like, in order to help David get focused on the development itself, I could actually become the social layer of David. So if people want to find me on Facebook or on LinkedIn or anywhere, I go by well, if they type Lumi, they'll find me. Lumi Luis Miguel Samperio. But I could actually help share many of the things that David is talking about here, so he can actually get to the coding itself. But let's get to the demo.
Yeah. So basically, last session I showed at the top level OASIS API, which is what I did in a demo as well, where Lumi was on. So this is the code that powers the OASIS so far. So it's quite a whopping 51 projects, but this is going to be massive by the time it's finished. And just to give you an idea, like these are all the providers like that are half implemented and some are fully implemented, like ActivityPub, Blockstack, Chainlink, EOS.io. That's implemented, and Ethereum's implemented. Hashcraft's coming. Obviously, Holochain was the first one that was created. And you've got the desktop and Unity. Obviously, I was the first one to connect Holochain to Unity and .NET. The HoloNet client I wrote, when was that? Last year, I think it was. That was in DevPulse 44. And then IPFS is coming. MongoDB's done. Plan Systems, that's another one of our co-creators. Scuttlebud's coming. Seed's done. Solid is on its way. And SQLite's done. And Telos is done. And Threefold and Tron will be coming along soon. That's just a few. That's just a handful. And just all the key ones, basically. What I do is just I kind of research and find out the biggest current trends and the biggest blockchain, and I'm going to add L1 kind of thing, the Rust blockchain. That I've seen on your newsletters. So I thought that's what I do. I pick up things and I flag it. Go, oh, well, that's a good one to implement, because especially ones that the Holochain community are like following. Because like you said, Holochain is my focus. So whatever is like trending in the Holochain community gets on my radar, and then it gets added as a priority to my list of providers to integrate. So it all started, the very first project I created was this HoloNet. Like I said, this is the client. So this also a reverse engineered the JavaScript web client that comes with Holochain. And this basically allows, like I said, to connect Holochain to .NET. And then out of that, I created HoloUnity, which then connects Holochain to Unity. So this was the world first, because our world, the game that's going to be built on top of this, which is the fully universal integrated user interface, which eventually will evolve into the OASIS that you see in Ready Player One. basically I had to do the backbone first. That's why the UIs, you can see the video in the UI on the smartphone version. You look on the website, and that's basically like a distributed, decentralized replacement for Google Earth, Google Maps, and augmented reality game. A bit like Pokemon Go, more advanced. I think I said about it before, and gets people out, get kids out of the bedroom into parks and nature and connecting with each other, face-to-face interactions, and doing treasure hunts and things. And look at a tree and it comes alive, and just can you find my seeds, and you get calm of being in parks and just being healthy. That's nearly finished, that prototype, and then the desktop console version will come out after that, and that's a virtual reality version. So that's HoloNet client. So like I won't go into all the details. I can do a more deeper dive later on, but I think I'll go through this a bit more on the existing demo. And there's things like auto start conductor, auto shutdown conductor. So basically, instead of having to start the conductor like separately, it's all fully integrated. So basically, any game or application website that uses this HoloNet client doesn't need to worry about the underlying conductor. Like this is like a wrapper around the conductor, so it automatically talks to the conductor for you and it sends commands to the conductor. But that was when it was Windows binary. When NixOS came out, it did create a few problems because I'm a Windows developer. Obviously, the .NET is mostly good on Windows. That did cause me a lot of fun. And then here's a client for Unity. You can see different test harnesses. Another thing I want to talk about is Blazor. That's a really cool technology in .NET. It's basically, I think the Holochain community will get excited by this because it allows you to compile a website client down to WebAssembly. So I want to try and embed the conductor and HoloNet inside Blazor, and that would be full WebAssembly front end and WebAssembly back end. That's going to be blazing fast, hence the name. But like, so currently, like, you know, Holochain is WebAssembly back end, but you still got your JavaScript client front end. Imagine how fast it'd be when it's full WebAssembly, completely full stack WebAssembly. That's another prototype I'm working on. Because it's just me working on this, it's a lot to do, you can imagine. I've got loads of prototypes are halfway there, and I'm just trying to focus, like, finish one bit. But that's like a little prototype experiment I started on. That'll be coming out soon. And then we got then we've got the HDK, which is the Holochain Developer Kit for .NET. And this started off with it was just a Holochain HDK, but it's evolved into what I call the ODK, the OASIS Developer Kit, because the OASIS API that's talked about is integrated into this, and it goes even further. So it's got all the zones in there, but it's also got I was inspired by Chris Larcom's work, and it's got a thing called HoloWeb, which is it's kind of not to be confused with Holochain, because it's kind of like mine is kind of this platform agnostic. But a big part of it will be running the Holochain. That's my role, is to connect. That's why I'm here. My specialty is integration and gamification. Right now I'm doing my integration GIFs, which is all this stuff, and then later on it'll be the UI, which is the gamifying the world, a real-time simulation of the world, which is what our world is. It's like the digital twin of the world, and your avatar is a digital twin of you. But that's another conversation. And then it evolved into like, this is digital twin of the entire solar system. So you have a stars that creates celestial bodies, and celestial body can be a planet or moon. So the first planet. So
I was thinking maybe go a little bit into the avatar system itself, David. Because we have highlighted this for a while, and I think as you're talking about gamification, as it all is built on top of the avatar system, probably that's something useful to highlight now.
No, I'll get to that in a minute. Because the star creates planets and moons, and the first planet it created is our world, and then the moons are the satellite apps and games that plug into it. So that, and obviously because they're orbiting around around the planet, which is our world, which is Earth, and basically like Loom saying, you've got the satellite apps and games, which is the moons, plug in to the OASIS API through the avatar karma system. So your central avatar is shared against the satellite apps and games, and then it's like a single sign-on. So that your digital twin, your avatar, which is you, follows you everywhere. And mirrors you, so basically, and it's through a thing called infinite reality, IR, and IR sort of comes after XR. And
if I may interject there, David. So if I may interject there, what David is saying, just so I can translate a bit more to the people, is that what we're seeing here is actually a system that would allow all the different games, and think about X-Men, think about Lord of the Rings, think about all the immersive worlds. We're talking here about an infrastructure that could enable them to be ported onto this OASIS API eventually, so that you have your own avatar, and eventually in these immersive virtual worlds, you would be able to interact with these different worlds and universes that have their own, experience and phenomenology and magic. So it's grounding a platform, a technology that would allow all the games that have already been developed, and all this, it's like, the way that I see it is like Disney Plus. If we could actually share that, Disney Plus right now has acquired, Marvel and all the classical of Disney and Star Wars, and they've built an experiential brand that interconnects so many different story worlds. What David is saying here is that eventually all those games that have already been developed, and the ones that will actually be developed, could actually have a technological infrastructure on top of which to plug into. So you could see the power of the visionary power of what this has.
Yeah, and basically so the avatar shared across all the apps and games, and the karma system is shared as well. So you gain karma in our world itself by picking up litter, doing good deeds, or progressing in the game, and completing quests and things. Karma is like your XP, and actually get karma unlocks special abilities and special powers, and eventually you can fly and teleport and become a superhero, because it's a superhero training platform in a way. You become your own superhero of your life story. And the karma system is shared against the apps and games that plug into it. So you can have an app when you, I don't know, like a mindfulness app or a meditation app when you're improving yourself, or you can have like planting a tree in the rainforest, or picking up litter in real life, or volunteering or giving to charity. You can, anything you do good in the world, basically. And also the same works of losing karma. So if you're like abusive to people on social networks, or like trolling people, you lose karma. So it's basically like you're showing people as cause and effect, because karma is very real if you're into the universe and spirituality. It's not religion, it's just how the universe works. It's called the law of karma. You can't get away from it. Like, good deeds are rewarded with good karma, and bad deeds. So that's gamifying the world and gamifying the way the universe works. So this is what I'm doing. I'm kind of translating. It's a massive educational platform to create the best possible version of yourself. And in doing so, we can create a better world and society, and we can all level up together and solve our world's problems. That's kind of the core of what I'm doing.
That's why I was connecting with this person that I mentioned before, the transformative technology platform, especially Nicole Bradford, who was a high executive of Blizzard, World of Warcraft and stuff. All these games have their own avatars. You have your own avatar, and eventually you have, a reputation system. What we're saying is actually bringing the power of gaming, as Nicole Bradford talks about, in this transformative technology ecosystem that is so powerful in San Francisco and all over the world, with hubs all over the world, as well as other communities that are merging technology with consciousness, like consciousness hacking. Probably many people here know about those communities that I was involved with and I'm involved with. We're talking about connecting technology itself with human flourishing, with psychology, with neuroscience, with spirituality, in a very rational, grounded way, through the power of games. You are a player in the game of life, and you are going to be empowered to live your own life, having your own avatar system that talks to all these platforms, and that would guide you in becoming the best version of yourself. That's what David is talking about. And that is what he's showing. Yeah. That is the backbone to interconnect with all these platforms. And that's the help that I'm, doing to him in regards to bringing these technologies into actually seeing this.
Yeah. I just want to just finish going through this star stuff. The star is like the thing that creates the OASIS applications. The star is like the center of the solar system, and star is what creates the planets and the moons. And it creates it from, this is what gets people interested in the Holochain community, is a template engine. So you've got Rust templates here, And this is still the old Holochain, Redux one. I'm in the process of upgrading it to the new RSA version. So basically, it has Rust templates and it has C# templates. So like you can automatically generate your Holochain applications, and it creates like the low-level Rust code, like all the CRUD operations that create read, update, delete, and then it creates the wraparound code, the C# code that wraps around it and creates a really simple abstraction layer over top of it. So it hides away all the low-level complexities of Rust. You never have to look at the Rust if you don't want to. But at the same time, you can dive in and customize the templates. So same for everyone. That's what I build. I always build intuitive, really powerful, easy to use applications but at the same time, it has the powers for power users that can dive in and customize everything. But out of the box, you don't need to do that. You don't need to have like Rust knowledge. This is my thing because I come from a C# background of 20 years, and I found Rust quite a learning curve to learn. So I had to, I wanted to create this so you can rapidly prototype Holochain applications, because it's quite a learning curve to create. And this is what's going to make it massive for .NET and Unity community, because the first thing was creating it so you can talk to Holochain.net. Then I'm going a step further now, so you can actually rapidly prototype Holochain applications, so you can build things really fast. If I could show you an example of this is like the C# templates. Let me find an example. Again, and then I was going a bit further. This is HAP DNA templates. And this is, you recognize the Rust code. So this is like create, update, delete, list, read, different blocks. It's like Lego. I see everything like Lego. And this is where it overlaps with CRISPR a lot. This is like Philip Beale had the same kind of idea as me, but it's like a .NET version of it and going a step further kind of. And this is like what comes after CRISPR. And this is what I want to really reach out. Hopefully Philip's going to see this video and then we're going to connect, because it's going to be very exciting. We did connect last year when I was in Bali, but I had a really bad connection in Bali, Wi-Fi there. We're talking about, because Philip's very similar to me. He's building stuff in Unity. He's interested in Unity stuff, and he's building some, and then he's built something similar to me. We're like parallel. He's like my brother in a way. He's building the same thing as me on the other side of the world. He's building Unity stuff, and then he built CRISPR. And I was like, I'm building a .NET version of CRISPR, and I was building this before CRISPR came out. I was already building this. I've seen the same things he was, but I was kind of just doing it from the .NET side. So it's going to be really cool when we can work together, because I already forked this CRISPR code. I'm going to start integrating this to CRISPR. I want to use this amazing UI. That's what I really want. His UI is amazing. So good work, Philip. You're listening. I love your UI and I love what you're doing. And I want to plug this backbone into your UI, and then we're going to really be on fire then. Because then imagine CRISPR talking to all the networks, Ethereum, EOS, IO, and open it up to .NET and Unity ecosystems. Hopefully everyone started to see the magic. This is my ramblings. I've been going on about 2 years. I'm like, why don't they understand it? This is big. This is going to change everything. This is going to light a Holochain community on fire when you realize what I'm freaking building here. This is massive. This is going to open up Holochain to the entire world. This is going to explode the ecosystem. But
we
now
believe in you.
I thought now I'm actually showing the code. I'm not just talking hot air. Like, it's real. It exists. It's here. Look, these are the zones. I can't kind of go into all in detail, but what I'll just show you what I really like is this is when you create, like, so you have is it this one? Yeah, so this is how it will start. So this is your Zome, and it inherits from Zome DNA, and then I've got my this is also your objects, like your string, int, ball, and then so you've got different zones and different objects inside it. So from that, when you run star, it generates all the zones and CRUD code to like read, update, delete these objects. So from that, it then spits out what are called genesis. And it's got DNA, zones, holons, moons, celestial bodies. I kind of taken like Holochain's modeling nature and gone another level with it, and I've gone beyond zones, and I've gone like into whole like I've gone galactic with it, and I got like the celestial bodies, moons, stars,
I'm curious.
Planets. Yeah. and
David Atkinson, I'm curious to see how David Atkinson is receiving this.
Sorry.
When we get into this side,
like any specific question, or what is your perception about what David has shared, and how we could actually translate it even more powerfully to the Holochain ecosystem?
Yeah, it's a great question, Lumi. So a bit like seeing David's work reflected as you're reflecting it, that reflection makes it so much easier to understand. I believe the code will be much more understandable when it's powering something or it's connecting to something. So the point of this is just to, again, it's laying the foundations for a conversation. So how am I receiving it right now? This is a fundamental exchange. Like David said, 2 years ago, the code didn't exist, and it was just him talking about what's possible. And now the code exists, and we're still talking about what's possible. And then over the next few conversations, the code exists, and then something's possible that wasn't before as a result of the code working. So I'm just enjoying the fact that we're this part into the process, and I'm looking forward to the next conversation might go a little bit more into some detail in the code or the UI, and at a certain point, something new that was never possible before will be possible because of what David's built, and I'm looking forward to that conversation. So that we've been communicating along the way, and someone can see how these things evolve. It doesn't, it takes years and years and years.
Yeah, and this is why I have so much like passion for and compassion for and understanding with Holochain and Art and Eric. And everyone's moaning about delays, and like I know how it feels like. We're like trailblazers. We're building something that's never been built before, and I've had delay of delay. Like I've been trying to get funding for 7 years, and I'm still waiting because like I realized now an idea doesn't get funding. You've got to build it. And,
we are preparing.
Because I'm trying to build things. I was trying to build things so far into the future. Like we're on the same path. Kind of, it takes a lot of and I'm trying to do like the website, the blogs, the networking, the videos, and so I haven't I had time to code for a while now because I'm doing all the other stuff because this one-man band. So when I get some help, then it's going to speed up massively. But now I'm so close because I'm like 95% there now. So like we're very close to.
I can share that we are, in the works right now of a very powerful synergy of collectives that we are just code naming with this fancy name, Rainbow Bridge, something that is really, a code name that makes people, an alliance that makes people understand that together we are stronger than separated. And we are preparing the ecosystem as well to receive philanthropy that is actually probably will get ready within actually 10 days. I think the last call was set, and we are talking about prototyping and testing something that we call a coherence event. For the people here that may not be very familiar with this concept about the Institute of Noetic Sciences and HeartMath Institute, research has shown that one of the most powerful fundamental well-being initiatives or measurements that can be, detected on a person is the state of their coherence, which means when your heart is in alignment with your whole state. And that's what the HeartMath Institute has been researching for a long time. And they've been actually doing over the last years really experiments that they called coherence pulse events, in which people could actually connect themselves in this global meditation events to really feel connected beyond our individual self, now that we are in this state of the world in which there's so much isolation. Well, we have biotechnologists that have decoded how to do those events, those coherence events, just with your smartphone camera. We can measure your heart rate variability and your energy pattern of the heart's energy field just by looking at your phone and actually translating that information into sound and into light. Well, we're talking about doing such an event on December 21st that so many people are saying. The other day I read on the New York Times this massive special astronomical conjunction that people say it's going to be very powerful for the planet. And we are kind of like wanting to say hello to that event through this coherence event in partnership with these institutions that we've mentioned. So we are working right now on testing this on something that is tangible and real, and actually connecting it with the right philanthropy. I don't know, also in the Holochain ecosystem here, how many people are aware of the concept of holo-sourcing, which is actually distributing funds through the Holochain infrastructure. And I was just in a call, well, in a message exchange with Brett and Andrea from Holo-sourcing, and we were talking about what if we could actually deploy funds or financial support through this measurement of the coherence. Imagine you are in a state of well-being, and we could actually tokenize that state, so you could actually be incentivized to really be at your fundamental well-being based on these research measurements that institutions are plugging in. So I would say that we have on the roadmap such a landing of a test, something that is real and tangible, and I believe we could actually, have another conversation based on that, how it's progressing, because we are getting really serious about this intention.
Yeah, I just I'm not sure how much time got left. I just wanted to just quickly finish off this because it's hard to justice this in a short period of time.
Yeah, just like the last minute, David. So I think if you just talk through that, and then we can just pick up again.
Yeah, I think the next part, because I knew it wasn't get time to talk and show code. I knew that it would take an hour just to show the code. Like, so this is a start. This is what started off the whole net HDK, and then this was just showing you got. I got to be creative. Beaming is how you beam out. You beam in, beam out is how you log in, log out, and then Starlight is what you pass in the DNA folder, and then you pass in like your Rust Genesis folder and C# Genesis folder. That's the template folders. That's what you saw earlier, and DNA folder. Is where it spits it out, and that basically builds your OASIS application from the templates, and then you've got so Starlight generates the code. That's it. Starlight generates the code. Starflare actually builds the planet, the app, and then Starshine launches and activates it. Shine and Stars light on it, and you've got Single Star Dim, deactivate it, and Starseed deploy it to the App Store. Star Trinkle, I know people like Trinkles in Holochain ecosystem. I got to change that. I think it more like highlights it. And the Star Dust deletes it, and then there's a cool stuff like Star Radiate, and the App Store is called Starnet, Star Emit. And then each planet and moon has about lights. About the more karma people gain in a planet on a moon, the more that the celestial body will emit more light, and then more gravitational, and more people who join it, the more gravitational pull that planet and or moon will have, and it will move closer towards the sun because it gets lighter and lighter. The more light is given out to the world, so the more good it's doing. So you've got an app that's really helping like people level up and create a better world. Then that app will emit more and more light. So this is where I got really far out in my creativity. This it just gets crazy and crazier. Like I can go like, yeah, it gets really deep. This is like really futuristic stuff. But I'm building it. I'm building the future now. So this
like a map like a map of the global well-being itself, represented audiovisually, of the light that people are radiating together when they are in this coherent state.
And basically, I'll come next time. I'll go over more details of this. This is the core thing, like which is the avatar system, karma system, and the mapping manager. Talk to the map and the park manager, quest manager, and all sorts of things, search things, and all different karma you can earn. Another thing was I'm connecting Apollo, GraphQL Apollo, that's integrated as well. Because the .NET client didn't exist for that, so I built my own. And I've also got bridging to Node.js. So I can talk to Node.js from .NET. A lot of stuff that's why I like how art feels, because a lot of stuff I'm building doesn't exist. And I had to just build it all myself. This is why it's taken so long. Like the technology is so in the future, like I'm building things I haven't thought of before, so I'm having to just build everything myself. So
how many years?
How Holochain feel, and they're taking ages. Imagine just one person doing it, and you haven't got a PR team or anything else, and you just trying to do. Oh, that's what's the journey.
How many years you spend on? How many years, David? Tell the community.
I started the whole project in 2011 when I first began. Like the first visions I had for it. Minecraft inspired me, started it all, and then it was my world, then it became our world. And then it's been going on since then. And then I just wrap up, and I've also got I've got a port of NixOS. So I've got a Holoport here, and I'm upgrading it so it can run an O node. An O node is what so it can spawn and run these OASIS applications, because it needs an Apache server. So because I'm trying to get support from the Holochain community, but people don't understand what I'm building, so I just do it myself. It's taking a lot longer, but hopefully I get some support soon. It speeds things up. So I had to fork NixOS and started to play around with that. So people, but there's something here for everyone. So that's why I really love the Holochain community to help me, because people who know Rust and NixOS more than me will really do your skills, and especially C#. And then got the web UI stuff and the RESTful API. That's the API there, and the Blazor HTML and the HTML UI, and then all the providers. So that's quite rushed. So I know we run out of time. So I'll leave it there, and then next time we can dive more deeper into that and give you an update on where it is. So hopefully that makes sense.
Super. Let's do that. Well, David, thank you so much. Lumi, thank you very much. Wonderful. I feel like I'm building a richer sense of the breadth and complexity of what you're building and where you are, and appreciate you and all your efforts, and Lumi for coming in and recognizing this and bringing such light to the process today. So thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, David. It's been good, and look forward to next time. And
cool.
Peace to everyone.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks,
to a better world.
Yeah, together we create a better world. That's the slogan.
Cool. See you all soon.
See you.